Young ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all. Once again, you are welcome here on the platform for Awakening Consciousness. In international news, the United States of America is bending over backwards for Russia. Yes. And this is demonstrated in the peace plan, the Isaac's latest peace plan that the United States of America has just proposed, has just implemented, which will be presented at this major meeting in London this week. So, this peace plan, the content of this peace plan is entirely favorable to Russia. And many observers, especially Western ones, are asking, but what is the reason? And we too are asking ourselves what the real hidden reason is. Why are the United States of America so compliant with Russia's demands? Certainly, it's either out of fear of Russia, or because they desperately want to have markets with Russia, or perhaps because they want to acquire Russia's technological techniques. Many questions arise. And before attempting to find answers to this question, we will look at the plan that America is concocting to propose to Russia at this summit to be held in London. It should be noted that this summit in London has been described as the summit of the last chance by the United States of America. The American has been very clear. If this summit does not bring a positive, concrete, palpable, and tangible result, America will wash its hands of this negotiation affair between Russia and Ukraine. The American has been very clear. Donald Trump's special envoy for Russia and Ukraine has told him. Vice President J.D. Vance has spoken about it. Donald Trump himself has revisited this. So this is the summit of the last chance and all expectations. Let's dive into the depths, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's simply incredible. The USA will present a 7-point peace plan for Ukraine in London. And the information is provided by the media called Telegram. Not the app, mind you. The Telegraph, I was going to say. According to the newspaper, The Telegraph, this plan includes the following points. 7 points. The first plan to achieve peace is the lifting of all anti-Russian sanctions by the United States of America. America will lift all sanctions against Russia. It's a big step. America would already, if America does it, America would have shown its willingness to meet everything that can facilitate the advent of peace between Ukraine and Russia. But if America makes such a decision, other European bodies would be forced to follow the same logic. So, this would satisfy one of the demands, one of the conditions of Vladimir Putin, since Vladimir Putin has said that yes, he can accept the ceasefire. Yes. But on the condition that Russia is no longer under sanctions. Because logically, if Putin accepts the ceasefire, the corridor on the Black Sea side, the Odessa part, will see the passage of Ukrainian grain ships. In other words, Ukrainian grains, wheat and others, will pass through Ukrainian ships via this corridor. It should be noted that this corridor was open, but for some time now, Russia has closed it. So, there is a ceasefire. Whether Ukraine is free or not from the ceasefire, to pass through this corridor, and that Russia is unable to evacuate its goods to the global market, it seems much more like injustice in Putin's eyes. And according to logic, by the way. That's why Putin insists on lifting these sanctions. And Donald Trump agrees, so he accepts. So that's the first point. Share the video conference with me, please. Share. Now the second point will be about energy cooperation between the United States and Russia. Energy cooperation between the United States and Russia. You know that in terms of energy, Russia is very advanced. But when we say it here, many people find it hard to believe what we are saying. When we say that Russia is very advanced, many do not believe it. And here, the Americans themselves are planning in their peace plan and energy cooperation. Already, Donald Trump had touched on this verbally. But this time, they want to take action. Since in terms of energy, Russia greatly serves the West. That was the second point. The third point is the recognition of Crimea as an integral part of Russia. On this point too, it's not new. We had already seen this in the initial statements of Donald Trump. Donald Trump had said, nonetheless, that for peace to return, the territories acquired by Russia before 2022 must be recognized. The debate, however, will focus on the territories acquired from 2022 onwards. But for now, everything acquired before 2022 belongs to Russia. That was point 3. Point 4 is the ceasefire. So I'm talking to you about the plan, the peace plan that will be proposed in London, since there is this very important summit that will take place in London. It's the summit of the last chance. So, point 5, discrete negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. Direct negotiations, I was going to say. There must be direct negotiations between Ukraine and Russia without intermediaries. But you must have noticed in recent days, we have conducted video conferences on this. Ukraine is already negotiating directly with Russia. They are negotiating through the media. Since during the Easter holiday, when Vladimir Putin unilaterally established the ceasefire, the media reported it, Ukraine accepted the ceasefire and even proposed an extension of 30 days. This extension was received by Vladimir Putin, who said he will analyze it. They will analyze to see. So it's already happening through the press. So if no one wants to send them to each other, they will inevitably go to each other. Nevertheless, it's the 5th point that is planned in the peace plan which will be proposed by the United States in London. If nothing changes, of course. So the 6th point, Kiev's refusal to join NATO would require Kiev to refuse to join NATO. This is a sine qua non condition. The 7th point will be Ukraine signing an agreement on mineral resources. So the famous agreement has already been concluded. But to deceive the vigilance of young Ukrainians and the Ukrainian population, as well as populations around the world, America has made it understood and is trying to make the world understand that the signing of this mineral agreement, is not a condition for obtaining the ceasefire agreement and the final agreement. However, in practice, as Donald Trump has shown, it is one of the conditions. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this was the headline of international news. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible. I will be back shortly with more news. This was the voice of your host, Robert Théa.